The year was 1971. India was preparing for war. And once again, it was with Pakistan. Their genocide in Bangladesh left India no choice. It could either let the killings happen or put an end to it. India chose the second option, not without some planning though. Months before the war, the army wanted something. 160 mm heavy mortars. You're talking about major firepower. Just one problem though. India couldn't find enough of it. But in September that year, a shipment arrived in Mumbai. Crates of 160 mm mortars. They came from Israel. Now back then, India and Israel did not have diplomatic relations. So how did they strike this deal? In secret. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister then. She asked India's spy agency to reach out to Israel. They used a common contact in London, and so the request reached Golda Meir. She was Israel's Prime Minister then. Now Golda Meir had a tough choice to make. Her own military stock was running low, plus her biggest ally, the US, was against India in this war. So helping New Delhi was a big risk. But she did it anyway. She routed supplies meant for Iran to India. And that's how they ended up in Mumbai. The mortars were a big hit. India went on to comprehensively defeat Pakistan. But our relations with Israel did not change. India still backed Palestine. It sums up the story of India's ties with both Israel and Palestine. Israel desperate for approval. India always shifting the goalpost. So when did that change? And why did India support Palestine in the first place? Time for a flashback. In 1947, the United Nations came up with a plan for Palestine. They wanted to partition it. A Jewish state for the Jews, an Arab state for the Arabs. The plan was put to vote in November that year. It was India's first big diplomatic test. We voted against it. Now, much has been said about why India did it. Just two reasons really, moral and political. Jawaharlal Nehru created India's foreign policy then, and his policy was shaped by Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi opposed partition. He wrote about it in 1938, and this is what he said. Palestine belongs to Arabs in the same sense that England belongs to the English or France to the French. And this idea rubbed off on Nehru. But that wasn't the only reason. After independence, India and Pakistan became rivals. Pakistan was Team Palestine. They sided 100% with the Arab world. So India had to make a move, back Israel and lose Arab support, or back Palestine and court the Arabs. Clearly, Nehru chose option 2. But Israel became a country anyway. In 1949, they applied for membership at the United Nations. Again, it was time to vote, and again, India voted against it. Things would only change in 1950. That's when Iran and Turkey recognized Israel. Two Muslim nations had done so, so India thought, if they can do it, why not us? Thus, New Delhi accepted Israeli sovereignty. But recognition did not mean relations. In 1953, Israel opened a consulate in Mumbai. That's all that they got. No embassy, no visits, no contacts, just a consulate. In the 1950s and 60s, the Cold War was heating up. On paper, India was neutral, but New Delhi was much closer to Moscow than Washington. Israel was the opposite. Their biggest ally was the United States of America. So once again, opposite sides. Yet, you would be surprised by what was happening behind the scenes. In the 1960s, India fought two wars, one against China, the other against Pakistan. Both times, the Arab world did not help us. In the 1965 war against Pakistan, they openly sided with Islamabad. But guess who helped India? Israel. Like in 1971, Israel shipped weapons to India. There's an interesting story about how it happened. In 1962, India and China were at war. Israel's Prime Minister Ben Gurion wrote to Nehru. He offered his sympathy and understanding. But Nehru wanted more. He wanted weapons from Israel, and that too in secret. So Nehru asked Ben Gurion to send the weapons in ships without Israeli flags. Ben Gurion's response was clear: no flag, no weapons. And eventually India relented. The weapons came with Israeli flags. Yet India's support for Palestine did not waver. If anything, it increased. One reason for that was the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO. It was founded in 1964, and soon it became synonymous with one man, Yasser Arafat. He served as PLO's chairman for 35 years. Now, the PLO's mission was quite clear: to rally for an independent Palestinian state. They found an ally in India's new Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi. Gandhi and Arafat had a great equation. He called her his elder sister, a quite generous one too. In 1974, India declared the PLO as the sole voice of Palestinians. It was the first non-Arab country to do so. The next year, the PLO got an office in New Delhi. It wasn't an embassy, but it would become one in 1980. PLO officials got diplomatic immunity and privileges. And to celebrate this, India even released a special stamp. In the 1980s, Arafat visited New Delhi multiple times. He was a popular face in the country. The Indian media also loved covering him. The headgear, the uniform, all of it made him appealing to the public. For an entire generation of Indians, Arafat was Palestine. He visited India 3 times in 4 years, in 1980, 1982 and 1983. And that last visit was for the Non-Aligned Movement Summit, the NAM Summit. Once again, it's story time. At the NAM Summit, Arafat was supposed to speak after Jordan's king. He did not like this. Back then, Palestine-Jordan relations were not so breezy. So Arafat said he was leaving. That's when Cuba's Fidel Castro entered the picture. Arafat's plane was fueled and ready, but then Castro shot a question at Arafat. Are you a friend of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi or not? And this was Arafat's reply. Friend? She's like a sister to me. With that, Yasser Arafat was back at the summit. Let me tell you why this story is important. Because Israel-Palestine is not only about geopolitics, it's also about personal opinions. Ask anyone around you. Chances are they have strong opinions on this subject. They may not say it out loud, but it doesn't change the fact that they have those opinions. And the same applies to leaders. Indian prime ministers have left a personal touch in this relationship, whether it's Nehru, Indira Gandhi, or Narendra Modi. So back to the story. When Indira Gandhi died, Yasser Arafat attended the funeral. He's said to have wept in public. In 1988, Palestine declared itself an independent state. The same year, India recognized it. If the 70s and 80s were about Palestine, the 1990s were about India's ties with Israel. There were 2 reasons for that. One was Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. Arafat decided to support Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein. His decision surprised many countries. It also left him isolated. The second reason was the end of the Cold War. With the Soviets gone, India needed new friends. And by now, the PLO was also talking to Israel, so New Delhi thought, now is the time. In 1992, Yasser Arafat visited India again. Then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao broke the news to him. India was opening an embassy in Israel. And Arafat took it rather well. He said he respects India's decision. So in 1992, India and Israel established diplomatic relations. India opened an embassy in Tel Aviv, and Israel opened one in New Delhi. Domestic politics also played an important role here. The Congress party had the baggage of the past. They had historically supported Palestine, so its leaders felt an obligation. In other parties, that was not the case. Yes, they supported India's long-standing position, but the baggage was not there. Also, full credit to Israel, because they worked hard on this relationship. In 1999, the Kargil war broke out. Once again, India needed weapons. The Air Force wanted precision target bombs. Israel gave them to India, and that too from their emergency stockpile. As gratitude, India's Foreign Minister Jaswant Singh visited Israel in the year 2000. It was the first bilateral visit. Despite all this, India never abandoned Palestine. In 1996, New Delhi opened an office in Gaza. In 2003, it was shifted to the West Bank. Even today, India supports the 2-state solution. It has rejected moves to shift Israel's capital to Jerusalem. But the old warmth with Palestine is gone. There is no denying that. Prime Minister Modi dehyphenated the relationship. In 2017, he visited Israel, but not Palestine. In 2018, he visited Palestine, but not Israel. But dehyphenation is easier said than done, as proven by this latest war. The question of Palestine can never be separated from Israel. India tried to do it. The Arab countries tried to do it. The United States of America tried to do it, but on October 7th, it all came crashing down.